So good morning. Just like to welcome you to this webinar on our next generation platform, or we like to call it NGP. It's all about there's a new look and feel. And we want to be able to this morning, we're going to tell you about our look and feel, which is it's a subset of our products within Nimbus. So Nimbus, within itself, we have these products called likes of GL Reporter, NimbuScan, our dashboards, our content store. These are all products which are seamless within Nimbus, but we've given it a new look and feel. We want to show you what this update's all about, how it can enhance your productivity, streamline your workflow, and it's a fresh new user interface. We've redesigned the menus, we've enhanced the intuitiveness to navigate around the screens. A lot of the modifications are around in color and design, icons, and it's all about what it terms it as tablet utilization, but it's all about screen space or screen utilization. So whatever device you're on, about being able to resize itself or be able to make it easier to navigate around and to use. So let's take a look at that now. So if I share my screen, now I just wanted to say that these products that we're talking about, like our content store and our NimbuScan and our other products, we've all done lots of webinars on this in the past. So this isn't about the functionality within these products. You can find more out about that on our YouTube page for Nimbus software. We've done lots of on the content store, and all of them you can see that they're there, or you can also see that we've done on our website itself. There's also under Resources Hub, there's a webinars area, and there's a list of all those areas as well. Just wanted to make people that are aware of that. So our core product, so Nimbus itself, the look and feel is still very much the same as it is, but I'd like to just sort of mention at this point that we do, this is an update to what we call these NGP products, but we also are constantly updating our core products as well. So our core Nimbus, we have at least on a monthly basis, there's some new an update to whether it's a bug fix or it's a feature enhancement or an improvement to the system. So we always like to encourage you, our customers, our clients, to keep your systems up to date, and that's something you can have a chat to us about if you want to discuss that further. So first thing I want to have a chat, talk to you or show you about is I'm going to sort of show you GL Reporter. This is GL Reporter itself and what it looks like in the current system. Most of you that are on our versions of Nimbus that are version 609 will have had GL Reporter as part of the upgrade to that version, and it will be available for you to use. So this is what it looks like currently in the system. The changes that we've made look now a bit like this. So it's a completely kind of different redesign of the structure of the screen. So we've done a whole lot of different things in here. It's color coded now, so the coloring matches the color of your current Nimbus system that you're in. So I've got this blue color in my Nimbus system, so I've got a blue color in relation to what it looks like here in the screen. But the whole layout's kind of changed a little bit, and the menus have changed a bit as well, and navigating around. So like, as an example, back here and with GL Reporter currently, we've got this tools area, and there's a whole lot of fields and filters and formats that we can go up and down to have a look in here to look at some of these areas or view as, or there's icons across the top here to change. So we've basically made that a far more streamlined area by using this, what we term as a hamburger menu here on the left-hand side. But I'll just start at the top and move down. What we've got here is the screen space where we're just selecting some information just like what you would before, but we can hide that information. So we've got a bar here, and you can see as I hover over it, it goes into those two diagonal lines. If I click on that once, it'll hide that screen area at the top. If I go to the top there again and I click on it one more time, it'll expand it again. So it gives me a little bit more screen area. As I go down on the screen, this area here where we've got a search bar, if I click on the search bar, I can start typing in, say, sales as an example. And it will start to automatically look at the grid and the data that's in the grid and filter on anything that actually says the word sales. So overall, it's going to filter on all fields and start to drill down to that area of sales. I can also, as I go down the grid, I can see that I've got my description. So if I take that same example that I had before, oops, my filter seems to still be active. Sorry, just need to clear that out. Okay, give me everything back. So now on the fields themselves, I can type on the fields in here, and actually the filtering is actually part of that. As you see, they start to click on sales or sale, it also actually started to filter on the grid like what I showed you just before, but just on this individual column. And the word that it was description has actually moved slightly higher up into the top end of the screen. So as you're filtering on something, it just makes it a simpler and a cleaner, and it gives you a bit more space on the screen to actually to filter. You can also drag and drop and move your fields around, but because of this searching that we have, there's a little catch that you've just got to make sure that you're at the top of the field, move it around a little bit so you can see that the column turns gray, and then you can drag it left or right to move the column around to where you'd like to see it to be moved to. So it's just a slightly different area that you'd grab the field to move it around. The ascending and the descending order is all pretty much the same. So you can see it here just on the right hand side. So a little arrow up, arrow down, you can click on it, got your arrow up or your arrow down. I'll make that go away. Now each also, the layout of it, so you can also just grab and you can squeeze up the columns if you want to make them smaller or larger, just depending on how you want to see your data on the screen. Now we do have a nifty little feature too that kind of does this for you. So under my little hamburger menu here, under where it's got fields, it's got an area where it says tools, and in tools it says auto fit all fields. So if you want to see it a little bit more scrunched up on the screen, or you'd like to see it a bit tighter, if I change that little tools and auto fit all fields, it'll do that for you automatically. I'll just get this back to the way that it was just before, just for the layout. Okay, so I'd like to just take you now just through the change in the menu. So the menu here is the hamburger menu. So if I just take you through this sort of step by step. So when I click on the hamburger menu, what I have across the top here is a range of different areas that I can look at in the system. So depending on your permissions that you have, it will depend on whether you've got access to see all of this or not. But I've got access to everything, so I'm just going to show you as I go through. So what we've got here is the first one that we can see that it's defaulted to is the data. So that's where you would have added or taken away the fields that you had before by selecting them on the screen. What's a little bit more, what's new to this is that if I then click on the field, say I've got division as an example, if I click on the field division, I can now choose to freeze that pane. That means that if I scroll backwards and forwards on my columns, that column division will always be showing. Just take that off. I can also choose now, there's another option here where it's actually summarized by division. So if an example in the reporting that you had and you wanted to see everything that was summarized by, and it was summarized completely and it rolled up to engineering, I could choose now to, within that division, I can summarize this division, and it basically now rolls it up automatically and does a summary for you and gives the totals. This may not be from this demonstration that I'm doing. This is just demonstrating that it can roll up and summarize at this point. Of course, it depends on how the field, how the data is being represented on the field at the time. But you can do that to multiple fields if you want to, and I can just clear that. And if you just notice when I did summarize that, that beside here on the field on the screen as well, there was this funny E looking sort of type character to know that it's actually been summarized by that field. So I'll choose to clear that. So you can select and add and take away fields as you would have had before. And as I mentioned before, there was just that we've got the ability, depending on your permissions, we can add custom fields to this as well. So just anywhere in these grids, if there's extra information that's not shown here already, so there's a lot of fields that are already here to select from, but if there's not, it's possible to sort of customize and add an extra field to make that display as well. So that's possible in the system. Now, if I just move along a little bit, so now we've done data, and if I move across to where we've done views, view is just pretty much about what's showing on the grid. This isn't going to make much sense, but if I just show you as an example, there's a lot of information that's showing on here, and this isn't going to actually make it look very pretty at all. But if I just click on area as an example, you can see that it's attempting from the data that's on the grid, it's attempting to automatically group this together. It looks a lot like gobbledygook, but that's why I'll just take it back to grid. But it gives you an example that under that views, that's what it does. The drop down lets us change that into a different type of graph or layout sort of type design. If I go across a little bit more, so I go to where the filter is, this filter is automatically here by default. I can actually add another one. So this is also a different sort of layout than it had before. So the filters are just going down the page here, and it just makes it easier just to be able to do that. So I could say my division equals engineering or something like that. and apply, automatically the filter is actually applied from that perspective. If I move across another one, we've got our formatting. So similar thing. So if I wanted to just, actually, if I just refresh that screen again, just to get everything back. If I go across to where I was now looking at my formatting, I might want to say, in the case of this, I can choose it to be a row, or I can take that away. Oops. Untick that, sorry. So it's got my field, the division name. I'm saying here that if my division contains the word, say, engineering, that in the case of this, I want to change the background color and make it something like this antique white. So you can easily start to, with this formatting, apply filters for different sorts of conditions on your report. So you can do them from a division, from a column perspective to a row perspective, and change the colors of them. It just, when you do that, the only thing just to be careful of is just obviously make something that makes sense when it's contrasted against the different colors of the fields that are showing here. But it's quite easy for that to be done. So if I just clear that, apply that back again. Going across, another option here is about sorting in the reports. So at the moment, this is being sorted by this field. I can actually add another level or add another line to it and sort in a different way. So that's a little bit of an overall sorting as opposed to altering the fields here and having them in descending or ascending order. So you could basically add additional lines underneath and choose what's the next area then. So it's sorting by this first, and then I say I want to sort by perhaps it's that I want to sort by summary, and I want it to be in ascending order, as an example. Now, something else you may or not be aware of in the system is that also across here, there's an area that says reports. So just to show you how this works, if I click on reports here, there's a little button that says reports. If I click on that, it brings up a list of reports that I've already defined in the system. Now, what I've done here is that I'm on the one that's quarterly P&L. I've actually just defined a report that's called quarterly P&L. If I run it, I can show you what it looks like. So what it looks like here is that it's basically it's a Word report behind the scenes that's just been formatted to produce the data in a more sort of user-friendly way if I wanted to print that out or do something with it. In this formatting too, when I've run it as a report, this little blue box at the top, I've left that there just to show you that that was an area where it could have been graphically like a logo or something like that in the system. You can also, as part of this, you can choose to you can change some colors and highlight some areas and highlight some boxes and those sorts of things. You can choose that, then you can basically choose to print it or to save it and email it off to other people. So you can add or text, or an area typed. Start typing in information like that. And it makes it really easy just to format it in a more, what do you want to say, better representation when you want to print that out. Now, just to really quickly, I just wanted to show you that if I just go back to reports, and I just, on here where I've got my quarterly P&L document, I just wanted to show you how that looks. So there's a wee button here that says edit, and when I do that, it just pops it out as a Word report. And it enables you, if I enable editing, to change it. So I could move these around, change the colors, add my little formatting, do whatever I want to do to make it look pretty, save it, and that just runs that report. And how do I create a new one? It's really simple. If I just sort of refresh my screen, and say I was running this for another one, so say there's actual monthly as an example. If I went into my area when I went to reports, it's just create a new one. And basically it automatically creates a new report based on that layout. It'll need to be prettied up a little bit. But if I just click on here in the area and I'll just say, I'll just call it webinar as an example. But it gives you the basics. So if I just run it, you'll see that it's basically dumped it into that word sort of area, but the columns might need to be moved around or altered a little bit to give you some more screen space. So that's where you would edit it and go and into those details and edit the report in Word and change it to a way that looks something a little bit more representable. Now there is also one other way. If I go to where it's got data, let's just refresh this again so I can. If we go to where we have data, there are other ways also just to download this. So you can download as an Excel spreadsheet or as a PDF or as a CSV file. And within there, there's actually also these options with totals. So as an example here, if I click on PDF with totals, what it's going to give me is here's a dump of what's in this, and it's what you can see on the screen, and it automatically does a total on the bottom. If I choose the one with PDF without totals, the total will not be showing on the bottom of the report. So it's just letting you know that sort of functionality is there. Now, there is one other thing that I just wanted to mention about the GL reporter. So currently the GL reporter, as we see it, is a list of the data and how you've got it formatted running on the screen like this. What we can do is that I've just given you an example here. If I just change this to what I've called my quarterly P&L and I'll change it to my example view, what we can do with the GL reporter as well is actually customize it by breaking it up a little bit, adding some groupings to it, adding some totals, and making it look a little bit more like perhaps what you might be expecting from a financial report in the system. So this is sort of, I'm grouping it by totals and I'm grouping it together. And how that's achieved, there is, let me just see here, get some of this stuff out of the way, is there is a option called the GL report designer. Now this is just to give you a look and feel for it. Talk to us if you want to look at doing something around with this. But what it basically does, if I just show you, and it basically allows you to say, how do I want this to see? What's the report? I can create headings, I can create detail. In the case of this, I've just done it with some GL account ranges and added some totals up. We can create sections and things in there, so we could break it up and just run it by a section rather than a GL account range, etc. So this is all about, if you want to use this a bit further, it's not quite so easily accessible in the system quite at the moment, but I'm just sort of giving you we're gauging interest. So let me know if you're interested in something like this. Okay, skipping on to NimbuScan. Let's have a look and feel as to what this looks like now in regards to with our new menu update. So everything, the color coding's there, everything's just a little bit sort of easier to sort of navigate around. We have obviously in some of these lookup boxes, like the creditor lookup, if I start typing my repco, this is just a wee bit of a different look and feel than what you used to before. It'll just match what it can on that REP scenario. And let me choose that, or I can choose in my lookup box and it will give me a creditor search and give me a look and feel of what we've got before. And all these areas, so if I then just let's show the cost allocation, because that's a little bit more useful. Cost allocation at the bottom of the screen. So what it easily resizes everything, so you can drag it up and down to resize things. Obviously, the information behind here, you can change that to fit to page or original size, or change things around depending on how you want to be able to see that. But I'm just dragging this around for ease of us to actually be able to see. So everything here, if you look at this menu, is the same as what I just showed you before for the GL reporter. So the same sort of structure in here. The fields are available, the data is able to be downloaded, that views, those filters, those formattings, and even the reports there as well. So you can actually then you can create a nice little report if you wanted to print this out in some shape or form, if it was worthwhile on the screen. But what I wanted to show you here as well is adding of new data. So this is a little bit different. So if I click on add, you'll see that the color of the line that it adds actually changes to me, and that means that it's in edit mode. So if I just quickly choose something, I'd like to choose the bath, add that, and then click on enter. You can see what happens is I click on enter, as it's creating that line, it changes it quickly to green, and then it puts it back on to the bottom of the field that's down there. Oh, already done that before. If I was to click on it once is to select the line, to do a quick double click on it, then changes it back to the editable mode. So it actually changes the color of it so you know that you're editing that field. If you want to get out of it again, something like an escape or something like that will make that go away as well. While we're in Nimbus, I just wanted to quickly mention at this point as well that we've done some big improvements to Nimbus over the last few months or two with NimbuScan. And with NimbuScan, we've done a lot of work around making this run quicker. So we've made lots of improvements in making sure that the processes run quicker around looking up information and running processing and posting information at the end. So we've done a lot of tweaks around to do improvements on that. We've done tweaks around when you've got overhead invoices, the GL account description also shows on the cost allocation grid now. We've done some more additions to the 0 lines that are showing here. So in the 0 lines, under the tooltips, you can see now that it says that it's going to set all lines to a 0 quantity and value, but now it's excluding purchase order lines that have come in that are marked as complete on the grid. So it's just making it a quicker and easier way of zeroing lines that you may not need. So lines that have been brought in and marked as complete, you can zero the ones that are outside of that. And that shows in this delete 0 lines as well. There's some that's deleting the 0 lines, excluding the PO lines that are marked as complete. One more thing I just wanted to show you, just to do with NimbuScan as well, while I was there. So within NimbuScan itself, just within our approval limits, we have just added at this level as well, there's actually this insert button, insert a rule and renumber any rules above it. So that's a new functionality that's just been added to this workflow rules at the same time. Okay, dashboards. Moving on to dashboards, look and feels kind of the coloring's the same, the icons and the are just a little bit better, and the fonts have just been changed a little bit. Same thing happens. Drill down into into our labor as an example, brings up a grid, same sort of formatting that we had before. We can see the fields, the data, the views, etc. as we go across. Once again, same sort of thing in reports. Here's one I prepared earlier. I can run my listing report. And if I just get rid of that, you can easily see that the grid that was on the screen is just produced in a bit of a more tidier format in which you can choose to print or to save that out as well. Okay, as I move across, I am also just going to click on to where we've got our content store. So our content store, slightly different look and feel once again. So it's got the bigger icons, it's got the change in the color. What I've got here as an example is that I was going to just upload a document. So you can see when I upload a document, there is now down the bottom, there is a uploads area which has a the green line went across, so you can see the progress if it was a large file and the timing it was taken to upload. I would just add this. So I'm just going to say that it's something to do with a general document and that it's a working doc for me. And I'm going to save it. So what I wanted to show you just over here as well, just on the right hand side, was just in regards to the documents, is just we have this sort of in the comments area, we've got some sort of, you can add comments, you can add text and things to it if you wanted to. In the preview, we've got this, what do we call it? We call it add text annotation. Let me get that right. It's too early in the morning to start making my words wrong. So if we turn that on, we can easily click in an area and then type in Blair's test. You can see I've been playing around with this a little bit before, and you've got lots of tests that are along here. So you can download this or print it off with annotations turned on or turned off, and passed on to other people so they can see them. Content store, just if you haven't seen this before, Content store is just another add-on that we have that replaces perhaps what you've been known before as the document store in Nimbus. So it's a far more sort of, what do I term? It's a smarter, cleverer way of storing the documents and being able to search and to move themselves around. So I hope this was an opportunity for people to see that what changes are coming up in these versions of products that we're terming as NGP, the look and the feel and how that's actually changed, how the navigation in the menus is carried through the system, and how it's a lot easier to make changes or to add filtering or to create those reports to print those out. And just in regards to the reports, I wanted to show you that those word reports can actually get quite fancy. So as an example, here's one. It's out of a test system but it gives you an example. It's the same thing. It's a Word document. It's been formatted to look a little bit better, but it's got sort of sections in it as well. So you can get clever with these Word documents. So it's got a section like that. There's another section that gives you a grouping or a total at the end, and there's even another section to this Word report where it gives you like a job summary and that at the end. We've kind of done this before in Nimbus and using reporting services, but there are other options that are starting to become available now using these reports within our NGP range of products. So lots to have shown you and lots to see there. So I've got a few minutes just left in this webinar, just to perhaps to ask if there's any questions or any comments or anything that anybody wants to know. So just checking, Laura, has there been any questions or anything that's come through from what I've showed so far?
Hi, no, everyone seems to be overwhelmed, I think, by the fantastic new look. No, nothing has come through yet. Oh, hang on. A record, yes, Angela, recording will be available later. So we always, as Blair showed in the beginning of the webinar, we always record all the webinars and had them available for everyone to view afterwards, obviously, because we understand that there's a lot of information to take away still, because it's all very helpful. Doug has asked, does it work outside the network?
Does it work outside the network? Well, that all depends on how everything's actually been configured. So yeah, that's site. I guess that's site specific, isn't it, as to how that's actually been configured within the system, and does it work outside of the network? So if you have what we call as our NGP product right now, and it's available outside the network, this will be the same thing. So this will be available outside of the network as well.
Anyone else? I don't think so. That's it. That's great. Thank you very much, Blair. That was very informative, and it was great to see how the new look is definitely, I think, feel becoming more intuitive for people and easier to be able to function and use and stuff. So if anyone is interested, definitely let us know.
Yeah, absolutely, and encouraging, as I said before, with what we term as updates to the system, not just the NGP products or the Nimbus products, the overall Nimbus platform itself. Give us a call and contact us, and we can arrange to put these new versions into for your systems. Looking forward to it.
Great. Thank you very much.